And I'm plenty loud, so no one need a mic. I noticed that he didn't say anything about politicians held to 10 minutes. So I'm just kidding. I'll do my best. I'll do my best to kind of keep it down. So having a chance to do a little Q&A with those that are in the room this evening, I've learned that a lot of what I was going to talk about and address, you have all superseded well beyond anything that I was going to talk about. And so I'm going to still talk about some of the same things, but maybe in a slightly different perspective. Biggest question I was asked, and still to this day I'm asked by some family members, is what do you want to be when you grow up? What do you want to be when you grow up? And my first response is, one, I hope I never grow up. I hope I kind of stay young and exuberant. You kind of see that in my bio, and I kind of stay quirky like I am. But to really answer that, I spent a couple of years really wrestling with an ethos, meaning who am I? How am I wired? What am I created to be? Kind of looked at my past and my background. And I finally came to the realization, like many of you in the room, whether you've articulated it or not, is that I want to be someone that every day makes a positive impact in people's lives. Every day that I make a positive impact in people's lives. And so this evening, I'm going to spend a little time doing kind of a comparison and contrast of some areas of my life that I've lived that most of you would know it's not something you discuss at a family gathering. It's Thanksgiving. What are the two things you do not talk about? Religion and politics. I have been a pastor and I'm the mayor, which puts me in a very unique situation to kind of look at the world of leadership from both those perspectives. So that's kind of what we're going to do tonight. Johnny Cash once said, and I love his quote, "Trust gets you killed, love gets you hurt, and being real gets you hated." So the truth is, we're all on a leadership journey, and there will be times when trust will kill us, we love and it hurts us, and we open up to being real and we get hated for it. So we're going to spend a little time tonight kind of looking at the pros and cons and different aspects of leadership when it comes to being a pastor and when it comes to being a politician, and draw some conclusions out of that. I think we all know that being whether it's a pastor, a politician, or leader in any capacity, that you're a servant, you're a care provider, you're a community partner, and probably so many more if we were to brainstorm together. I like Jimmy Dugan, the movie League of Their Own. Anybody know this quote? "It's supposed to be hard. If it wasn't hard, everyone would do it. The hard is what makes it great." And as I think of leadership, that's what I think of. If anyone could do it, it wouldn't be hard, and it's the hard that makes it great. And again, spending so many times talking to you this evening, it's the hard that makes it worth it. And I can't wait to hear what so many of you are going to talk about tonight. Whether it's being a pastor, a politician, an advocate, whatever role that you're in, it's so much more about the why than the what. I think we all know the what, we know the how, it's the why. And I'm big on quotes. In the movie Taken, Liam Neeson says, "But what I do, I have a very particular set of skills. Skills that I've acquired over a very long career. Skills that make me a nightmare for people like you." And unfortunately, bad leadership is exactly that. And so many people in leadership think that they're great at what they do, but they're more concentrating on the what and the how and not the why. And in having some conversations here tonight, I love to hear some of your why, and I look forward to hearing more. It comes down to a question of buy-in. We are looking for buy-in from the people that we're leading. Those relationships that we're building, we're looking for buy-in, whether it's the hierarchy of needs, to put a point on it, or if we're just trying to get buy-in for trying to get to do something. Buy-in as a pastor looks different than buy-in as a politician. There's very, very broad. So on the pastor side, when you're leading a church, you have people that go, "I want in." They get the vision, they see what's going on, they voluntarily join the organization, they voluntarily step up, they want to be part of what's going on, they voluntarily give their resources. When you're running a city, you don't have that buy-in. As a matter of fact, they're forced to give you their money, and you're still responsible for it, but they're forced to give you the money, and you have to help them learn how to have buy-in so that you can spend their money wisely to, again, the betterment of the community. That's where it's similar from the pastor and the politician. It's still trying to bring the betterment of the community using other people's resources and trying to get buy-in from those folks. And ultimately, is that not what we're looking for, is buy-in from the people that we're trying to lead, the people that we're trying to care of, the people that we're trying to help, that we're looking for buy-in. And it's not an easy task. Not easy at all. Early on in my marriage, right around 95, 96, I had the opportunity to go to Russia while I was in seminary and worked with some orphanages that were bringing shoes to children that didn't have shoes. It was the dead of winter. I actually got to celebrate my birthday in Russia, which is kind of cool. Neat experience. But we sat down with a Russian missionary, and Russia was a very closed, hard country back then. Very, very difficult for a missionary to get any inroads. And we asked him, we said, so how is it that you're here? What do you do? And his quote that stuck with me ever since then said, they'll never hear your words till they know your heart. They'll never hear your words till they know your heart. If you're looking for buy-in, share your heart with them. Allow yourself to be transparent to them. Allow them to see you and who you are as a person. Because they're not going to join the program. They're not going to join your organization. They're not going to hand over their money, or they're not going to step up until they know your heart. And it's a big deal for him. So it was spending a lot of time with them, building relationships with them. It was spending a lot of activities with them. It wasn't trying to evangelize. It wasn't trying to sell. He just wanted them to hear his heart. One person quoted says, if they fear you, they'll follow you. But if they respect you, they'll die for you. That's an example of someone hearing someone else's heart. So whether I was a pastor or a politician, I want them to hear my heart. And as a pastor, it's a little bit easier because people are stepping up and they're going, yeah, I want in on this. I've already bought into kind of who you are and what you're trying to provide. So I step. But as a politician, it's extremely, extremely hard because you want them to hear your heart. And ultimately, you want them to have buy-in. You want them to get along with the vision. Andrew Carnegie said, no man will make a great leader who wants to do it all himself or to get the credit for doing it. That's not about heart. That's about what and how, not the why. Not the why. So to be an effective leader, we have to build relationships, earn trust, and create relational equity. I've been mayor for a year now, and that's all I've done for a year is build relational equity. What's interesting is I was a commissioner, spent 4 years building relational equity with the people in the office. Great relationships with all these people in the office. Thought I had them on my team, thought I understood them, thought they knew me, thought they knew my heart. Really, thought they knew my heart. I became the mayor, we hit the reset button. We immediately hit the reset button from day one, and I had to start over from scratch. As we change in our positions of leadership, so does our relationship with those that we're trying to invest in, those people that we're trying to lead, those that we're trying to care for, those that we want to get buy-in from. It changes. So what do we have to do? We have to evolve, and we have to change with it, and we have to move with it. And that's not easy. I think West Frankfort has the same. In Benton's form of government, it's a commission form of government. We have 4 commissioners and 1 mayor. That form of government is a weak mayoral form of government. It's a strong commissioner form of government. I don't necessarily have to vote unless it comes up to a tiebreaker. I can bring something to the table, and if 3 commissioners don't like it, they 3 can vote no on it, and it never happens. Or if 3 commissioners would like it, they can put it on the agenda that I cannot prevent from being on the agenda. They can vote for it, and it can pass whether I like it or not. So the mayor of the city of Benton has, has very little real power. The only power that the mayor of the city of Benton really has is influential power, relational equity. And as a leader, that's my biggest challenge. On the pastoral side, it's about care. It's about helping people. It is the same thing on the mayoral side, but I've got an extra challenge is I have to get buy-in from a team of people that may or may not buy into me. And I've got to work really, really hard to get them to buy into me. I can have plans and I can have visions, but if I can't build a team to get people to come along with me, that has no meaning. In the places that you are leading right now, how are you doing with buy-in? Sometimes we take steps that we think we have buy-in and we push too fast, we push too hard, we push too far. And all of a sudden, when we cross that line, oh my, we learn really quick whether or not we have the buy-in. We learn really quick whether or not those people are really following us and going along with us. When I first became mayor, I made some assumptions about the people in the office and my perceived buy-in. The reality is I didn't have it. And I stumbled for the first month. And it was a very unhappy, unhealthy place. It wasn't on them, it was on me as the leader. Learning how to lead them, take a step back, slow down, and re-earn the right with them on some things that I'd like to do to get that buy-in again. Each of you will run through that. So what does good or maybe effective leadership look like? I've come to learn that it's not linear with a vertical trajectory. It's not like it steps up. Effective leadership, from what I've seen, it's multidimensional, it's a multifaceted approach. So it kind of goes multiple different directions. It doesn't just move forward. Sometimes you take a step back, sometimes it goes sideways, sometimes it goes up, it goes down. You will be leading people that are above you. You'll be leading people that are next to you, and you'll be leading people that are below you. And I think if we went around the room, each of you could identify folks in each one of those categories. How are we doing at leading and caring for all those people? So with that great power, we got great responsibility. We understand that it's not direction or destination, it's this process, it's this lifetime journey, and that you're moving along in this leadership journey. We should always be working, we should always be growing. That comes back to the street commissioner story. I thought I had arrived. The reality is, I had just started. As each of you step into different roles, and I'm hearing some of you, like you've stepped into a role, you've been there about 3 years, you had to radically change what you were doing before to what you're doing now. As the organization grows, as a business grows, what worked when you first opened won't work 2 or 3 years from now, especially when you franchise in Benton. I've got it on camera. There's my plug for the night. We have TIP, we have Enterprise, just kidding. But the truth is, if you're growing and the group around you is growing, the organization is growing, your leadership strategies are going to change. What worked before isn't going to continue to work moving ahead. So you have to modify and you have to grow in the position that you're in. And so many times we think we've arrived, and reality is we're just getting started. And I see Mike do that a lot. I feel like he flips about every 3 or 4 months when he comes out with a new program or a new strategy or a new activity, as it changes. And all of a sudden he has to evolve with it. So being in leadership, you guys have all experienced this. Ugly, beautiful, amazing, frustrating, infuriating, joyful, fulfilling, draining, and every other range of emotion I'm sure you could come up with. I used to say, I can be the mayor, I've worked on church staff. I now say I can work on church staff because I've been the mayor. And I never thought I would say that. This last year has been the biggest challenge for me in growing in my leadership that I think I've ever had. A couple more points and we'll wrap up. So let's do a mental quiz. Think through these things. And this is a gut check for all of us. 7 signs of an effective leader. How are you at giving credit to others when they win? Is their success your success, or is it all about you? And be honest with yourself. We can paint a rosy picture, but where are we? Do you value their input? And that's one thing I had to learn as the mayor, is that I'm valuing my commissioner's input. And now, I'm a pretty strong mayor. Like I know where I want us to go, but I got to have buy-in from them. And a lot of times I wasn't looking for their input. So they were pushing back. Do you value their input? Do you really care about what they have to say? Do you support growth? Are you pushing them? Are you allowing them to push you? Are you willing to expand and stretch in areas that are uncomfortable for you and reach new heights? Do you care about those people beyond work? Or is it really kind of the 9 to 5? Do you care about them as people? Do you care about them as humans? Do you care about the lives that they're living outside of the jobs that they do? Do you respect their time? And I'm just learning how to do this. We have a city clerk that she would work 24/7 if I asked her to. And I'm learning how to be very, very careful to not send her texts early in the morning or late at night or on the weekends unless it's an emergency, because I need to respect her time and space. I can't say that's always been the case for her. Do you set the example? Do your actions speak louder than your words? A lot of time we can talk the talk, but are you walking the walk? And we can get in the habit where we think we're walking, but we're really just talking, and they see us talking, but they don't see us walking, and so they stop following. How are we doing with that? Are you making decisions with compassion? One of the things that I've learned about being, whether it's a pastor or a politician, is sometimes you got to make hard decisions. And I think the definition of good, true leadership happens in those moments when you got to make those hard decisions. Sometimes they're financial decisions. Sometimes they're relationship decisions. Sometimes there's organizational decisions. How are we doing at those decisions? And are we caring for the people as we're making those decisions? And I think that's really the crux of who we are as leaders, that it really starts to show up and shine about who we are. So if you felt any struggles, and I know this is as much for me as anybody else, a couple of challenges. One, how well do you know yourself? We're constantly looking at other people. We're helping them learning, teaching, educating, trying to raise them. How well do you know yourself? Have you taken any surveys to help understand yourself? Have you taken some assessments? For example, there's something called the 5 love languages. It's how you send and receive value, how you feel loved. Have you done that? Have you had your people around you do that? The better you can understand them. So I'm a big person when it comes to assessments. Are you an introvert versus an extrovert? I am a social introvert. I gain energy by downtime and time alone. God provided me a very strong extrovert. And she's now in a job that's a total introvert job. So she comes home with lots of words. So I'm learning. Again, I'm growing in my leadership and how I lead my family. Leadership's not just about the job that you do, it's what you do every day. How am I leading? Animal traits, lion, otter, beaver, golden retriever. If you want to know more about this, I could talk to you about it. But it's how do we approach the things that we do and our personalities. Masculine versus feminine trait. That's not male or female, it's masculine and feminine. I'm glad this is a safe space because I'm a feminine personality. That's the way I'm wired. That's how I'm created. I'm a nurturer. I love the nursery. Give me babies. I love it. Best thing that's ever happened, side note, best thing that's ever happened, men, is that in nurseries, men are not allowed to change diapers anymore for safety reasons. So I get to hold them, she gets to change them. It's great. I love it. My wife is a masculine personality. She doesn't deal with drama very well. And when we have our college students together, the girls go over here, the guys go over here, she'd much rather hang out with the guys than the girls of the drama. I don't blame her. I get it. How do you value work? By work, I don't mean like your formal job. I mean like, how do you value the things that you have to do, the tasks that you have to do on a daily basis? There's categories within getting a job done, and how do you value that? What is your strength? What is your weakness? What does that look like? And then how do you live that out, and how do you help those that are around you understand and live those out? I'm a firm believer that the better we understand ourselves, the better we can lead others by example. Lastly, I'll leave you guys with this. We all need to be, and we all need to have a cheerleader. We all need to have someone that's in our court that wants to see us win. Someone that's standing behind us and walking alongside us that says, you've got this. That you're not having to do it alone, and they want to see you be victorious. If you don't have that person, I'm sure there's a person in your life that wants to be that for you. And likewise, we should be a cheerleader for somebody else. Somebody in your life that you see that you want to see win, and you're going to walk alongside them, and you're going to rah-rah them, and you're going to do everything you can to help them be as successful as they possibly can. Great example of being a leader. Last thing I'll leave with this. There's a passage of scripture that I love. The Apostle Paul's writing it to the church in Corinth. They were growing weary. They were trying to keep up the good fight, but they were exhausted. 2 Corinthians 4:16, he says this to them. This is my life verse. Therefore, we do not give up. Even though our outer person is being destroyed, our inner person is being renewed day by day. So don't let the weight and burden of effective leadership keep you down. And let it keep you from seeing it through, because in the end, gang, we all know it's worth it. Thank you. Thanks.